How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Don't you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again? The sweet emotion raining all over me.
I come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again. Making black new.
Happy Thanksgiving, Patriots. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I love that video. I can't get enough of it. I would love to get your opinion on that. Welcome to the Audit the Vote newsroom. I'm your host, Toni Shuppe, coming to you live. We're going to start doing this on a weekly basis. I would like to get your feedback. If you like that video as much as I do, and you'd like to see it to stay as the intro video, please let us know, because this is something moving forward into the new year that we're definitely going to do a podcast on a weekly basis and try to get it up on more platforms than what we're already on, and try to increase our reach so that we can get back to transparent elections, free and fair, transparent elections, most importantly, that the people can have confidence in. So please like, share, and subscribe to whatever platform that you happen to be watching this on, whether it's YouTube or Rumble or Twitter or Twitch, or can't remember if we're on Facebook. I think we're live on Facebook, maybe. We're not live on Telegram tonight. We're going to get that fixed, and we're having some issues with Instagram. But whatever platform that you're on and you're watching us, please like, share, subscribe, follow us, and hit the button that will give you alerts. It's the bell. Hit the bell so that you get alerted when we go live. Like I said, I'm going to really try, or no, we're going to, I'm not going to try. I'm going to get a regular day, a regular time that we're going to do this every week. Something else I'd like some feedback on is, when would you want to see the Audit the Vote newsroom, this podcast, on a weekly, regular basis? What time do you think is good? Because, hey, if you weren't listening to me, I'd just be somebody yapping to myself, and we don't need any more of that. My family gets enough of that all day long. So let us know so that we can tailor what you are looking for, our listeners, our followers, and our supporters. What day, time of the week would you want to see this on a regular basis? So I have a lot to cover. I am by myself tonight. I do not have my co-patriot Karen Taylor with me. She has so much on her plate right now. She's the chair of her county committee in Westmoreland County. She's the vice chair of the Phyllis Schlafly organization, Eagles Forum, and has a ton of responsibility there. She works for Cause of America, technically part-time, but you should see her schedule. It looks a lot more like full-time to me. And she's got 2 little kiddos and a very busy life. And so she's not going to be joining us tonight, but she is holding down the fort in some way down in Westmoreland County tonight. Great to see everybody. Before we charge into the main event for tonight, which is going to be the 2000 Mules drama. Oh my gosh. You know the other side is going, see, They lied all along. You people are crazy. I get it. I've heard it all. I know. And we're going to address that. That's going to be the last part of the podcast. I'm going to go through the details. I've talked to the True the Vote staff. I have a working relationship with Catherine Engelbrecht. We are going to talk about that, but I got a bunch of other stuff we're going to do first. And I still have that song playing in my head, that Kid Rock song. I put that on. That pumps me up, that video, so much. Joel, I don't know if you like it as much as I do, but my gosh, you should see me backstage. I'm like dancing while the video is playing. And the intro, I think Joel's getting a kick out of that. And when Bobby Kennedy starts talking, if you follow Jim Brewer at all, who is my favorite stand-up comedian of all time, he has something recently where he jokingly makes fun of Bobby Kennedy's voice, which, okay, might not be nice, but we're conservative, so we still have a sense of humor. Can't we joke a little bit? And how he just, his voice, Jim Brewer does a really, really funny thing on it. And so when Bobby Kennedy starts talking in that ad, I just instantly think of Jim Brewer and start to chuckle, but it's all backstage, so you can't even see that happen. All right, let's charge in. December the 13th, we are having a election integrity holiday celebration for the state of Pennsylvania, for anybody that really wants to come and fellowship with us, but it's geared towards people that have been working. We want to reward the people that have been working on the ground with us for the last 4 years, because we did not get through this election alone. Audit the Vote has a long way to go in terms of what it wants to accomplish, but we're thankful that we have come as far as we have. And that is all due to the people that supported us. And so we just want to celebrate with you and take a little bit of a breather, even though we know that we have a ton left to do. The question that I get almost on a daily basis is, do you think the election was fair? And my answer is, well, here's the better question. Do you think it was transparent? Was the vote counting and reporting process transparent? And the answer to that is no. Now, I like the outcome. And if you're watching my podcast, you probably like the outcome too. But that doesn't mean we had a fair election. And that's really what we set out to do with Audit the Vote, was to repair the broken election system, which in our state, communist governor and secretary of state want to convince the world that everything is fine. Everything's fine. We know otherwise. So we are going to be gathering in Pittsburgh area in Millvale on the 13th of December on Friday night. And we would love to see as many of you as possible there. There is limited space and the RSVPs are starting to really fly in. So if you do plan on attending and want to attend, I would RSVP sooner rather than later. We may get to a point where I do have to cut it off, depending on how many people do RSVP. So there is no entry fee. We are not charging. This is a celebration. We are going to have some raffles and some auctions. We've got a bunch of Patriot-owned businesses that want to support us, that are donating baskets of goodies, and we're going to be raffling stuff off because we do need money moving forward. So that being said, if I haven't already said this, go to auditthevotepa.com and click on donate. If you are not a monthly supporter or a regular donor, please become one, because we have a long road ahead of us, and we're going to use December 13th to fellowship and have fun, but also to raise a little bit of cash, because our supporters are incredibly generous and helpful. And we want to support Patriot businesses as we rebuild the Republic. One of the main things we have to do is start supporting like-minded businesses. So the woke giant corporations understand that we vote with our dollars. Our purchasing power is key. And we're going to support people that align with our values, and the rest of you can all go pound sand. So that's our goal. If you do want to donate something, if you own a business or know somebody that would want to donate something to the cause that we could have in the Chinese auction or a silent auction, we're going to have both. Reach out to us on our website and let us know, and we'll get that picked up. But in the process of planning this event, it's going to be amazing, a little bit different than the other events that we've had. We do have some special guest speakers. I did secure two of my favorites that have been with us from the very beginning. Dr. Doug Frank and Captain Seth Keschel are going to be with us. And we were hoping, Catherine Engelbrecht was originally scheduled to be the keynote speaker. She's had some situations in life that are just unavoidable, and she is not able to make it. So I do apologize for those that were looking really forward to meeting her. I know we are still very much connected with her and are going to do more with her in the future, but just didn't work out this time. But my two boys that come through for me every time are able to come, and we're going to get to spend some time with them. But it's not just going to be listening to talks and I hate to say droning on, because they're good speakers, but we're going to have some fun. We might even, I was thinking today, the ideas just start popping in my head like faster than I can keep up with them. If you lived in my head, you would be scared how quickly things roll through this Rolodex. I started thinking we should do some type of game, like a bridal shower-ish game where they play like bridal bingo. We can have like election integrity bingo or something to make it fun and educational, because that is really the way forward, is to get more people involved in their backyard, especially on election day at the polls, whether it's working or watching or working campaigns or whatever that is. And there's so much to learn. I'm still learning on a daily basis. So I'm thinking about that and trying to put that together. We're going to have a lot of videos, probably some cameos via video from Catherine Engelbrecht and Rick Green from Patriot Academy. So that's going to be awesome. It's going to be a really cool night. So don't miss it. When you RSVP, sign up to bring a side dish. Try to stay away from desserts. We have a ton of people that have offered to bring dessert. So if you could bring kind of your favorite holiday side dish instead, that would be insanely helpful. I'm looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible. Doors open at 5:30, so come at 5:30, eat, mingle, have some fun, win some prizes, and then we're going to kick off with speakers at 7. And then we're planning on also having a panel. If you poll watched for us in Allegheny County, you'll probably be hearing from me, if you haven't already, about being on a panel that we want to interview you and talk a little bit about your poll watching experience. So that's going to be a little bit different too, and fun. And also to honor the people that have been and part of our leadership team as Audit the Vote, are what we called our county leads, as many of them that are able to attend. We're going to be honoring them as well. I think that covers it for the event. QR code, scan the QR code, or I sent an email out today you should have gotten for it. Scan that QR code and RSVP, and I'll see you guys on the 13th. Next thing let's roll into is the movie promo I want to talk about. We are taking over Hollywood. My Patriot Academy coworkers and I come up with all these cool slogans, and this week was Hollywood Takeover, which, Joel, I meant to send you a snapshot. It's so cute that Scarlett Lanny, my coworker, did, but I forgot to get that part out to you. Bonhoeffer is a movie that came out 2 weeks ago about the life of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Now, I have found, I don't know if you fall into this bucket, but I have found an awful lot of people don't know who that guy is. In fact, if you could stick in the chat, if you do not know the name Dietrich Bonhoeffer, put that in the chat. Say, I don't know who that is. Because as we take over Hollywood, entertainment, we are telling stories of forgotten heroes or people that just are not part of the mainstream right now. And Dietrich Bonhoeffer is a name that if you had asked me a year ago who that was, I would have said, I have no idea. And it happens that he was a pastor in Germany during the 1930s and the start of World War II. He was one of the few, if not the only pastor, that was willing to speak out against the Nazis when they started coming for the church. And boy, have we seen in America that the Marxists are coming for the church. And Dietrich Bonhoeffer is a shining example of what the church should be doing, so that we have a warning. And this film is all about his life and what he risked to speak out. It was excellent. I saw it about a week and a half ago. Joel, if you want to cue up the trailer, and when you get that up, I'll stop yapping. And
something's coming. Something unstoppable.
Look around you, my friend. How much light do you see?
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because the visions of me creeping left its seeds when I was sleeping.
Hate comes in every color.
And the vision that was planted in my still remain within the sun.
We have devised a plot to assassinate the Führer.
You will go to England as our spy.
Churchill sees Germany as a whole. He's afraid that a bomb traced to England would mean invasion or worse.
Invasion? Invasion? My country was invaded from within.
And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning, and the words that it was forming
my destiny.
Of silence.
Okay, so my coworker, Scarlett at Patriot Academy, played that at one of our Coaches Corner calls on Thursday afternoons, and she got really choked up. And she doesn't usually get choked up. It took me aback. And now I see why she got choked up, because she had seen the movie, and I have seen the movie, and watching the trailer again, it's like, oh, thank you, SD, for saying you don't know who that is. You are not alone. The majority of Americans have no idea who Dietrich Bonhoeffer was, which is why you need to go see the movie. It supports Angel Studios. It is heavy. It is sobering. It's not an easy thing to watch, but we need to see it because we have to understand history in order to not repeat it again. And I believe, based on the outcome from November 5th, that we thank you, Jesus. He granted us some mercy, and we just might have avoided the complete Marxist takedown of the American way of life with the regime change that we're about to inaugurate here in January. And it's a miracle. And so, but we need to know what would have been and what is still coming like a freight train, by the way. Our work is nowhere near done. If you're sitting back thinking President Trump got elected, we're good to go. I'm going back on the boat, back to my previous life. Hey, I get it. I want to do that too sometimes, but no. If you don't want your kids on a boxcar and you don't want to go back to 2020, which my oldest daughter is working on a graphic right now, she's killing it, that we're going to have available at our 13th celebration for you to take home and put up in front of you to remind us of what they did in 2020. The masks, the forced jabs, the people that lost their jobs because they didn't want to get the vaccine, the stolen election, everything they did to us in 2020. We have to keep that at the forefront of our brain so that we'll stay inspired and motivated on a daily basis to do what we need to do to never go back there again. And so seeing this movie is just, will put pieces to the puzzle like you can't imagine. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. And leading me into my next announcement is I have a really special opportunity that is not usually open to the public. It's still not really public, but if you are a Constitution coach, you host classes through Patriot Academy. We have these weekly gatherings just for coaches called Coaches Corner on Thursdays at 1:00 Eastern. A lot of you in the chat, I see you there, Lola Days. She joins us regularly. A lot of you do join us regularly for that. But if you don't, we're opening up this one this week, which is tomorrow at 1:00 Eastern, because we have the producer of that Bonhoeffer movie is going to be our special guest. And that is a QR code right there that Joel just threw up, that if you want to join, it's a Zoom link that will take you to the registration page where you can sign up to get a link for our Coaches Corner. That's tomorrow, again, Thursday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. And the producer of that movie is going to be live. My coworkers have some really cool connections. Scarlett, especially, I don't know how she pulls it off. She's the reason actually that Kirk Cameron is in Biblical Citizenship and that Rick Green knows Kirk Cameron. She connected them because she went Christmas caroling with Kirk Cameron once upon a time, a few years ago. So highly connected people. I love these people. Join us tomorrow. It's going to be a very unique opportunity. Like I said, we usually do not open this up to the public, and it's not necessarily public, but we want as many people as possible to see this film because it will shake you to your core. And it's quite frankly what we need, the feeling that we need to experience in order to continue this fight, because this is going to be a generational battle. None of us are going back to our previous lives. You're here to stay. Yes, it sucks, but it's also kind of sweet, and we'll get through it together. Very cool. David, can you get it without scanning the code? Yes, if you want it without, Joel have the banner. I can't put it up. The link is too long. David, email me at Toni. There you go. Oh, you do contact it at the vote. Either way, my Patriot Academy email address is Toni with an I at patriotacademy.com. There you go. Email me there that you want the link for Coaches Corner, and I will send you that QR code, or I'll send you the link. I don't want to put the link out necessarily public, but want to have all of you folks to have access to it if you would like to join. I know, Sandy, right? How wonderful to have him live. We're so excited about that. And want to help him promote the movie as much as possible. So Patriot Academy, we got that done. We did the Bonhoeffer trailer. Okay, next on the docket, I got another little video for you for the Patriot, something that Patriot Academy is rolling out, and that those of us in Pennsylvania, if you are connected with Audit the Vote or you're just a Pennsylvania Patriot, I am pushing for a very special Patriot experience as Rick Green rolls out this new program for Patriot Academy. He's doing the very first Patriot experience. It's on the campus. I have a quick promo video that'll talk to you about what it is. We're going to get a chance in Pennsylvania to go down in April to Texas for people that are able to take the time and do this and have our own Patriot experience at the campus in Fredericksburg for whether it's the 3 days or you're able to stay 5 days or 7 days. Mark your calendar. When Joel gets the little promo video up, we'll start rolling and you can see a little bit about the Patriot Experience. And I'm working right now with the staff.
The Patriot Experience happens right here in this new legislative hall that we just built here at the Patriot Academy campus. And it's so much more than just learning. The legislative simulation, the life purpose planning, the communications training so that you can be effective at winning people over to your values and to the constitutional republic that we have, getting them to love America again. And then to top it all off, you're going to get some really good Constitution training, in-depth Constitution training. I'm looking forward to being with you and getting to do a big part of that. And constitutional defense training, the physical training to be able to defend yourself and your family in the moment. We have the greatest ranges in the country, the best instructors on the planet, and the best programs for you. Whether you've never touched a gun in your life or you've been training your whole life, you will enjoy this course and the fellowship. All of this in 1 week. We're less than 1 week. So come spend a few days with us, enjoy the Patriot Experience, and then go home and light a brush fire of liberty in your neighborhood, in your church, in your home, in your community, and let's save this constitutional republic. Check out the details below and come see us right here at the Patriot Academy campus.
Here's my man. He is hosting Flashpoint Live this week in Gene Bailey's absence while he is on at the beach on a little bit of vacation. So I think we're competing times. If you're watching Rick Green and you catch this recording later, I totally understand. There he is. I'm working with the staff to get all this stuff coordinated. So we'll have registration links and all the fun stuff, but mark your calendars. We're shooting for April 22nd to start the 3-day legislative simulation. And yes, I know it's Texas and it's a long drive, but it'll be worth it. I promise. I got dragged down there myself for the first time in August of 2023 as a new employee. Would not have gone if I was not on staff, and came home and thought, okay, I'm not moving to Texas, but I got to get more people down here, because the experience that you have on the campus, what you learn, what you come away with is indescribable. So I hope many of you will consider joining us then, and we'll talk more about it the closer it gets. But mark your calendar. April 22nd through the 24th is what I'm shooting for with the staff. We have to get all the details worked out. Oh my gosh, we're almost there. We're almost there where we can talk about Dinesh D'Souza and True the Vote and how the 2020 election was still stolen and those guys are good patriots and everything's going to be okay. Before I do that, if you are holiday shopping right now and want to support the great Mike Lindell, who laid it all on the line to save the 2020 election and spent his entire fortune of $60 million to get evidence before courts, thinking that we could fix everything if a court will just hear us out. Still running MyPillow. Good patriot to support for the holidays. Get some MyPillow merchandise, whether it's a pillow for your bed or your sheets or your slippers. I wanted to tell you a little funny story, and I'm going to do a video of this with my little one because it's adorable and I think it's a really, really good promotion. If you go to mypillow.com and purchase anything, use a promo code ATVPA, and Audit the Vote will get a donation from your purchase. You support the great Mike Lindell, who is still trudging along and probably the most we don't want to say just heart in the right place, election integrity activist who just was willing to lay it all out there and be made fun of and attacked as much as Donald Trump. And if not, I don't say more, because he at least is not a felon technically, but he is an ex-drug addict. Separate topic. See what it's like to be in this brain? It's scary. My 7-year-old daughter. So here's my story for the MyPillow. I would not have, before this venture, spent the kind of money, although not that it's expensive, but I didn't spend money on bed sheets and towels. I would get the least expensive stuff. So when I first started looking at MyPillow stuff, we got connected with all of this, I was like, this stuff's kind of expensive. However, they gave us some stuff for free to try, and it was all amazing. But within the last, I want to say year, maybe 2, I have to think this through. My youngest, who is now 7, when she was 5, she started coming into our bedroom every night in the middle of the night, like 1, 2, 3 o'clock, and sleeping. We have a small couch at the foot of our bed. She slept on our couch for almost 2 years before finally telling us that her mattress was uncomfortable. And actually, when she did tell us her mattress was uncomfortable, I wasn't sure if it was one of those like tricks that the kids play because they don't want to go to bed. Just anybody with little kids can relate. My oldest, I remember coming out of her room one night with every excuse in the book. And the most shocking one was, "Mommy, my bed is too tight on me. Can't sleep because my bed is too tight on me." you know, the back and forth when you're trying to get a toddler, when you transition from the crib to the bed and you're trying to get the kid to stay in the bed. That is like the parent will literally do anything to get them to stay in their room. Aside from, I'm pretty sure it's illegal to just like lock them in, but we thought about it. Anyway, so I wasn't sure. My bed's not comfortable. That's why I'm coming in your room every night. My husband and I were like, really? I don't know about that. Well, we had a relative stay over, a cousin who who shared her bottom bunk bed with her and also said it was uncomfortable. And that's when I started thinking, well, if she's saying it's uncomfortable, maybe it really is. So I went onto MyPillow. I ordered a mattress topper for a twin bed and I spent $100. And I was like, this is a lot of money. It was hard. It was clawing. I was clawing because I would never have spent $100 on a mattress topper before this, but I justified it because Audit the Vote's going to get a donation and she's saying the bed's uncomfortable. So let's see what happens. When I told my husband, he about flipped out. You spent what on a what? You blah, blah, blah. Guess what? She has slept in her bed ever since the day we put it on the mattress. And now my husband will tell you it's the best $100 we ever spent because we got our bedroom back. So the stuff works. I tell you that story to tell you the stuff works. Maybe I can get a video of my little Hallie sharing that story with you because she's adorable. She's a teeny tiny peanut. She's 7 years old. She looks like she's in kindergarten. She weighs 40 pounds and she's a hoot. So I'll try to get a video of her telling the story so you can get some laughs. Go to mypillow.com, get some stuff for Christmas and use promo code ATVPA. That was long-winded way of telling you to go shop at Mike Lindell. We also have some new merchandise on the Audit the Vote site that I worked on over the holidays. Another way that you can support us, as well as, more importantly, raise awareness for this cause. We have to keep election integrity front and center in terms of the narrative, in terms of the media. I would think one of the biggest blessings that I saw after the 2024 election is that mainstream media is dead. It is dead. They are getting no traction, no views. I forget one of them that would have gotten millions and millions of views is getting like 60,000. I think it's a CNN show maybe, or The View. I mean, they're dead. We have to keep them dead. We have to build new media. And so one of the ways you can do that is by wearing swag that will spark conversations with those on a daily basis, that you can start talking about some of these issues that we want to keep front and center in the culture and in the fight. And so if you go to our website right now, go to the store and click on holiday deals, you'll see some fun, cool t-shirts that I put together. The election denier one is really cute. My 13-year-old actually made that. And she's having, my kiddos are having some fun. We are passing the torch of freedom, baby, by getting them involved in everything. And she designed that t-shirt for us. There is 25% off. So the prices that you see there, if you purchase these before the holidays, I have a promotion running that you'll get 25% off. Check out that mega one. What do you think of the hair? The hair. I was having some fun with Canva. I think that's so cool. Make elections great again. So Christmas, these make good Christmas gifts. If you order now, you'll get it in time for Christmas. It might only be a few more days. I have to look up to see what the deadline is. There's that tote bag there. It's a new tote bag that we did. A transparent process equals a trusted result. That's our mantra moving forward. A transparent process equals a trusted result. How do we know if the elections are fair if the vote counting and reporting process is not 100% transparent? We don't. And so we might like the outcome sometimes, we might not like the outcome sometimes, but what we have to get away from is wondering, did they steal it? Did they rig it? Did they cheat? iPhone case ornament that Joel put together. Joel did the ornament. I might have made some changes to it. And I think I might have made some changes to the iPhone case too. Check out the ornament. Your Christmas tree. If you're really hardcore, I don't even have one of those yet. I did place an order today though, and I'll probably put that on my Christmas tree and have some fun with some liberal family members that'll be here for Christmas, because we just all have to torture the liberal family members and educate them as well. Because I think we're just 2 shakes away from converting some of these people over to the principles of liberty. But check out that iPhone case there. So I had some fun over the Thanksgiving holiday with Canva and put some new merch in the store, and would appreciate your support. Again, more importantly, I think, than supporting us financially, is this stuff will raise awareness for the cause. And we've got to keep election integrity front and center. We can't just go, oh, we're good. Trump won, we're good. No, we're nowhere near good, actually. We were granted a reprieve. God granted us mercy and gave us a second chance. And the work is really just getting started. So, oh my gosh, is that everything? If you have any questions about current events, I know I'm trying to figure out the direction to take this podcast as we move forward. Should we just go through current events on a weekly basis and go through our breaking news tab on auditthevotepa.com's website? Tonight, I'm not going to do that, but if you have any questions that you want my perspective and opinion on based on the current events that have happened, stick them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. And in fact, before I get into the 2000 Mule stuff, I'm going to answer that question that someone emailed us on our website today, if I can find it on my screen. I think her name is Diane. She sent us a question. Oh, no, wait, that's where I knew I stuck it somewhere. I'm going to read this question and answer it live. She says, I have a question and was hoping you could help me. I was a poll worker for this past election in Allegheny County. As we were looking in the poll book, the judge of elections noticed a friend's name in the book. She said her friend had voted early, but yet there was nothing in the book next to her name to indicate that. My question is, what prevents people from voting again at the polls if they have already voted early? We had no paperwork whatsoever to tell you. That is one of the best questions you could possibly be asking. So let's clarify a few things. Pennsylvania does not technically have early voting. We have mail-in voting, and we have 50 days prior to actual election day that you can go to your county board of elections, typically, and request a mail-in ballot right then and there on the spot. You fill out the application, you hand it over the counter, they process the application, they give you a mail-in ballot, you fill the ballot out, you put it in the secrecy envelope, you stick it in another envelope, it gets sealed, and if they're doing it right, they're putting it in whatever precinct that you live in where you should be voting. They'll file it there, and it does not get opened until 7 a.m. on election day. That is how early voting in Pennsylvania works. Full transparency, I did not understand that myself. Election integrity I'm living for 4 years and did not understand that until, I think 2 or 3 days before it ended this past election cycle. Do I remember you and I being on the phone like, this isn't early voting. It was like October, whatever the last day to request a mail-in ballot was in Pennsylvania. I think it was October 29th. That was the day early voting technically ended because you are voting by mail. It's not really early voting. So all of that to say that what should happen in this instance is the judge of elections in their poll book, it should be marked everybody that had requested a mail-in ballot, aka voted early. That should have been clearly marked in there. And if it's not, that is a problem because there isn't anything in place to stop that person from showing up at the polls and voting twice if they voted by mail. If that's not indicated in the poll book previously, it should have been. I don't know why it wasn't. And Diane, if you're watching this, I'm happy to look into it, dig into it a little bit further. I need to know the precinct that you were working, the exact precinct, and we can dig in and look into that. You probably don't remember the name. That would be even easier if you remember the name. But for your reference moving forward, that should be something that is in the poll book. And in fact, what they're supposed to do is post public list of everybody who has requested an absentee and or mail-in, which is pretty much the same. They're just coded differently in our system when you get the voter rolls. Those names, people that requested mail ballots or absentees, should be posted publicly in every precinct for every voter to look at when they're voting. That should not be something that is kept secret. It should be made front and center and posted publicly. And so something like that, what the way to avoid that is to have that posted so that when the person comes and tries to vote and they're told that, well, you already have a mail-in ballot, and then it goes to did they vote provisionally? They can vote provisionally, in which case then it gets in a whole separate envelope and it goes back to the county and they start looking through provisional ballots after election day, after the pre-canvassing is done, and figure out if that provisional ballot, did you vote twice? And it's a lot of actual work. This is one of the things we want to do. One of the many things I want to get up on the Audit the Vote website is training for people to understand this stuff. Karen has been on the provisional ballot review board for several election cycles now in Westmoreland County. So she has seen how this process works in her county, and it is not easy. They go through, if they do it right, a lot to have to find out, did this person already vote or should we count this provisional ballot? And I think that's something that would help if the public understood a little bit more how that worked. We can hold them accountable by understanding that. Checking. Yes, October 29th. Thank you. Thank you. Let me check the chat really quickly. SC, the judge of elections is supposed to call into the election office at night and they can tell them if they have anything on that person voting or not. They're supposed to call in. Yes, but I think the question was, since there was nothing there, how would they have known if like that person could have just walked into the polls and voted if there was nothing to show that there was an early vote? Now, if they had a question themselves, then yes, the judge of elections should call the election office if the individual comes in and says, hey, I have a question. But it looks like, I don't know that that was necessarily the case. I need more details from Diane, but thank you guys for asking. Irby 1988, are you familiar with Liberty Score? The last time I looked at it, it did not have 2024 results of how our reps voted on bills. I have heard of it. I have not looked at it. That's a very good question. Let's keep that on our radar. Yes, I know you are not told that at training. But if you took my poll watcher training, SD, which you can get access to on Audit the Vote if you want to, something I'm hoping to roll out statewide is to get proper poll watcher training, which should be really poll worker training, so that folks that are in your position know exactly what they're looking for. Because shocker, especially the blue areas are not doing a great job of this. Okay, I think, again, questions on current events, hit the chat. Let's get into this. So there's some links and things for you to follow up on. But let me say this. I have met Dinesh D'Souza. I have a newly working relationship with Catherine Engelbrecht. I think they are both patriots. And I don't think either one of them had any malicious intent or were intentionally trying to mislead or deceive the public with this entire endeavor. So the data, the cell phone ping data that True the Vote gave Salem Media was accurate. And the video surveillance footage that they handed over to Salem Media was exactly what they were given from the counties. There was some miscommunication and confusion when the movie was put together and the editing was done. Catherine and Greg were not involved in the editing process of the movie. And so it's literally this silly, is that they're an individual who was depicted, if you've seen 2000 Mules, you know the video footage they got from some of the locations actually showed a person delivering a ballot in the middle of the night, taking a picture. Why would you have to take a picture of your ballot if you weren't getting paid to put it there? Taking a picture of these ballots, dropping them off, in a lot of cases, multiple ballots in big stacks that they're dropping off and taking pictures of. And the way the movie told the story was a certain individual was depicted that his cell phone was the one that he was dropping off fake ballots, and he was a mule. And somehow that individual, which, Joel, if you pull up this particular link is a documentary that these links are going to be available for you to do some deep dive and to really understand this. I spoke to Catherine Engelbrecht's staff, who has given me some resources for you that we're going to put in the chat. But I wanted to talk through the best resource right now that you can be sharing with the public is the Gateway Pundit article, which I may actually just read because it is really good. It goes into a lot of detail of what happened with Catherine and Greg and what happened with True the Vote and all of this stuff. The takeaway message, though, is this. The 2020 election was not free and fair. Oh, I'm on YouTube saying that. I'm like, we'll see if we get strike. It was not free and fair. The premise of the movie is 100% accurate. This is another article from Uncover DC, 2000 Mules, and True the Vote debunk the AP hit piece. Joel, get the Gateway Pundit articles and what I want to read. It's long, but I want to go through it and then give you my commentary. And the reason I want to do that is because I don't want to screw up any of the details. And I can tell you that I have, like I said, I've met Dinesh D'Souza briefly. Karen and I met him one time backstage at a Trump rally 2 years ago. We ambushed him while he was talking to his daughter and got a picture with him. I'm pretty sure he didn't like it. I probably wouldn't have liked it either. That's the only interaction that I've had with Dinesh. I think Karen's connected with him a couple of times on Twitter. We have never worked with him before. I can't speak to that. I have worked with Catherine. I've known Catherine a little while. She has never misled me. She has never told me something that was even a little bit skewed. She's always been forthright and forthcoming with all the information. I can give you more details about Pennsylvania and why we didn't have more information on Pennsylvania, but let's read this first. So I don't want to screw up the details. We're 40 minutes in. This should take the rest of the time. True the Vote corrects the record on Dinesh D'Souza's apology related to individual who's suing them for showing his blurred image in the 2000 Mules movie. Top conservatives across America are under attack by well-funded radical leftist groups who are a well-orchestrated trick called lawfare to them. President Trump, the Gateway pundit, alternate electors for President Trump in 2020, Trump lawyers like John Eastman and Christina Bobb, top players in Trump's inner circle like Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon, and Mark Meadows. Those who fought to prove the various ways the 2020 election was stolen, like Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Mike Lindell, and True the Vote founder Catherine Engelbrecht, and True the Vote investigator Greg Phillips, have all had their lives turned upside down. Their bank accounts have been drained, and their reputations have been called into question. Now, as I pause for a second to comment on that, you think that brings a little stress into your life? Just a teeny bit? Yeah, a little bit. So again, I don't know the backstory details of if there was a falling out with either of these folks. It doesn't really matter. It wouldn't shock me because before we started this fight, I started reading history. A lot of founding fathers. I think it's Thomas Jefferson. I'm going to screw this up. I think it's Thomas Jefferson and either Sam Adams or John Adams. I don't remember which one. They fought like back to back in the foxhole together, the Revolutionary War, and they ended up arch enemies and lived like a good portion of their adult life not speaking to one another. And I used to wonder how the heck, because when you're in the fight with somebody, you got their back. Like, how do you end up turning on each other or having these falling outs, so to speak? I can tell you 4 years later, I totally get it. And if you're in the battle with us, you've seen it and you get it too. So don't read into this any more than it needs to be. Like I said, Dinesh D'Souza, Salem Media, they're good people. They're doing good work. What the little paragraph I just read for you caused a ton of stress on everybody. And I don't doubt that when the nitpicking started, the stress had a factor in the response. So after another coordinated attack, I'll continue reading, by the mainstream media, we will attempt to help clear up a rumor being pushed by so-called journalist, Tom Dreisbach, who wrote about a recent statement made by the 2000 Mules movie producer Dinesh D'Souza that Dreisbach claims was an admission that the surveillance footage of the absentee voter drop boxes in Atlanta, Georgia that supposedly shows illegal ballot harvesting is false and misleading. His tweet included screenshots from a statement made by Dinesh D'Souza on his website. Dreisbach wrote, Dinesh D'Souza has issued an apology over his election conspiracy film 2000 Mules on his website. D'Souza admits that the heart of the film, surveillance footage of vote drop boxes supposedly showing illegal ballot harvesting, is false and misleading. Now, if you actually read Dinesh's tweet, that's not really what he said. That's spin on what he said. You can see Tom Dreisbach's tweet there. In response to another tweet, D'Souza clarified, nowhere do I say that the geolocation data provided by True the Vote was false. This is the problem with regurgitating false accounts in the media. My actual statement is on my website. And so you can see a snapshot of his response right there. He's saying, I did not say that it was debunked. Here is Dinesh D'Souza's statement in its entirety from his website. So let's read the actual statement and not the propaganda artist's rendition of how he heard the statement. As those who have seen the film or read the book know, 2000 Mules was based on cell phone geolocation data collected and reviewed by True the Vote. An analysis of this data revealed highly suspicious patterns of certain cell phones, which were recorded in the location of 10 or more drop boxes. This data was the premise of the film. During the production of the film, as a supplement to the geolocation data, True the Vote provided my team with ballot drop box surveillance footage that had been obtained through open records requests. We were assured that the surveillance videos had been linked to geolocation cell phone data, such that each video depicted an individual who had made at least 10 visits to drop boxes. Indeed, it is clear from the interviews within the film itself that True the Vote was correlating the videos to geolocation data, which they have every right to do if you watch that documentary that's in the links. We recently learned that the surveillance videos used in the film may not have actually been correlated with the geolocation data. I know that the film and my book create the impression that these individuals were mules that had been identified as suspected ballot harvesters based on their geo-tracked cell phone data, while all of these individuals' images were blurred and unrecognizable. One of the individuals has come forward publicly and has initiated a lawsuit over the use of his blurred image in the film and the book. Now, first of all, his blur. How did he even know it was him? We could pick through this for days. I owe this individual, Mark Andrews, an apology. I now understand that the surveillance videos used in the film were characterized on the basis of inaccurate information provided to me and my team. If I had known then that the videos were not linked to geolocation data, I would have clarified this and produced and edited the film differently. So see, it's an editing issue. It doesn't mean the whole thing is crap, or we can scrap the entire premise of the film, which he goes on to say. We operated in good faith and in reliance on True the Vote. We continue to have confidence in their work and also in the basic message of 2000 Mules, namely that the 2020 election was not the most secure election in U.S. history. Far from it, and that there was systemic election fraud sufficient to call the outcome into question. We also continue to have faith that True the Vote's underlying geolocation data and analysis uncovered highly suspicious cell phone travel patterns, including a significant number of cell phone IDs that were recorded at more than 10 Dropbox locations. While in the video and the film created an incorrect inference as to Mr. Andrews, the underlying premise of the film holds true. Journalists conveniently left that part out. Indeed, the accuracy of the general proposition of 2000 Mules was publicly confirmed recently by the disclosure of a leading Democrat organizer who admitted to an undercover journalist that the premise of 2000 Mules is accurate. Again, I apologize to Mr. Andrews. I make this apology not under the terms of a settlement agreement or other duress, but because it is the right thing to do, given what we have now learned. While I do not believe Mr. Andrews was ever identified by the film or book, I am sorry for any harm he believes he and his family have suffered as a result of 2000 Mules. Now that, if you read the whole thing, is not what the journalist said. So let's keep going. After the Gateway Pundit reached out to Catherine Engelbrecht about the tweet by Dreisbach that was posted on X, along with screenshots from D'Souza's apology, True the Vote published a statement. In their statement, they clarify their role in Dinesh D'Souza's 2000 Mules movie and subsequent book by the same title. We recently became aware that Mr. D'Souza issued a statement regarding the movie 2000 Mules and a case currently in litigation. We provide this clarification on his statement. The central premise of 2000 Mules, as identified and validated by True the Vote's research, remains accurate. However, regarding the individual mentioned in Mr. D'Souza's statement, True the Vote had no editorial control over the 2000 Mules movie and no involvement in the books. We did not select videos or graphics used for dramatic effect. This individual was not part of the geospatial study in which True the Vote identified 242 unique devices having visited at least 10 ballot drop boxes, a fact that was communicated to Mr. D'Souza's team. Despite this, D'Souza's team included a blurred video of this individual in their 2000 Mules movie and book productions. Now, if you've done any video editing, Joel knows this, you're looking for the best shot. You're trying to produce something that people will engage with and they will watch and resonate with so you can get the message out. And I'm guessing, just making a guess here, Dinesh himself might not have even been involved in this process. I don't know if he does his own editing, but the editor probably thought that's a really good shot. And they're giving this and they're giving this and they're putting the pieces together and they're telling the story and now they get sued. And let's find out what was behind the lawsuit. Let's keep reading. Dinesh D'Souza responded to multiple posts on social media and articles written about his apology by individuals who attempted to summarize his words. D'Souza responded to a tweet by J. Michael Waller, who shared his thoughts along with a link to an article written by Just the News on the topic of D'Souza's response. In his tweet, Waller said it took courage for D'Souza to admit that he had been deceived by True the Vote. The senior analyst for strategy for the Center for Security Policy wrote, "It takes courage and integrity to admit that one has been deceived." Conservatives have been targeted to discredit their just claims about systemic election fraud. Dinesh D'Souza's apology is a sign of character and a warning for us all to be careful. Gaslighting. In D'Souza's response to Waller's statement, he appears to be saying he had no knowledge the geo-tracking method used by True the Vote did not match the video surveillance film they received. The film's conclusions about a systemic election fraud were sound. The cell phone geo-tracking data was sound. If we had known the geo-tracking was not matched to the video surveillance, we would have clarified that in the film and treated the video content more cautiously, D'Souza said. Keep scrolling up. We reached out for a comment from Dinesh D'Souza, but because of the ongoing lawsuit, he was unable to comment. So, by the way, they're still in litigation over this. And if you've ever been sued, it ain't fun. Even if you're suing other people, it's a little stressful. Mr. D'Souza also told us because of the ongoing litigation, I'd rather not respond to this. He added, happy to go in depth on everything when it's over. Can't wait. With all the back and forth on social media, it's curious that no one is asking how the lawsuit against True the Vote, this is the best part of this, Salem Media and Dinesh D'Souza came about in the first place. So let's do some digging that the lying mainstream media doesn't want to do. How is it possible that an individual from Atlanta, Georgia, whose face was intentionally blurred to protect his identity, was able to put together a team of lawyers from New York City and Washington, D.C. to sue D'Souza, True the Vote, and Salem Media? Lawyers are expensive. Is Mr. Andrews an extremely wealthy man? Or could it be, as in so many of the lawfare cases against top conservatives in America, the leftist legal teams sought out Mr. Andrews and encouraged him to file suit against True the Vote, Salem Media, and Dinesh D'Souza as a way to destroy them? Notice how the focal point in the lawsuit against D'Souza, True the Vote, and Salem Media is about discrediting anyone who questioned the results of the 2020 election or the multiple ways in which the election could have been stolen from President Trump. Curiously, the lawsuit also mentions January 6, 2021. This is a tactic they've been using from the get-go, from day one. How did this regular guy get the money to do it? How did he even find out? If it was blurred in the video, how did he even find out? Here is a partial list of the lawyers representing Mr. Andrews, mostly from the far left. Protect Democracy Project. I'm pretty sure, by the way, they're also involved with the voter protection badges. Oh, look at that. The voter protection badges that we saw in Pennsylvania. Lawfare, which has become the most popular tool in the Democrat Party's playbook during Joe Biden's devastating 4 years in office, targets and isolates its enemies. Lawfare is not possible without the full cooperation of the media. First, the Democrat co-opted mainstream media coordinates talking points about the chosen targets of the Democrat Party. The coordinated message of the corporate media, which works on behalf of the Democrat Party, as we've all seen, is important, as they must target respected individuals in their fields and in their communities and work together to create a false narrative that will mischaracterize and demonize them. Now, I will admit that this does border on maybe not quite journalism. This is the Gateway Pundits spin and idea of what they think happened, which, if you read the whole article, I get why they're drawing this conclusion. If the FBI is involved in the plot, it's important to get footage of early morning raids of the targets' homes. The media must ensure maximum damage is inflicted on their targets by making their neighbors, friends, and followers mistrust them and question their previously held beliefs about them, including their character, legitimacy, and even their motives. And that's been done to yours truly by Governor Josh Shapiro. So I can speak to this. The choice of courts and political makeup of the area where a possible jury is chosen is critically important when committing lawfare against conservatives. Reliably left-leaning populations are a must if they are to ensure a far-left jury with similar political ideologies. Soros-funded prosecutors are key to successfully trying a case. Once convicted, it's important to maximize the financial damage and reputations of their political enemies. Catherine Engelbrecht told me herself, by the way, which is public knowledge, on her 990 form, which is a tax form that a nonprofit has to fill out with the IRS, her legal fees last year were over $2 million, I think closer to $3 million, just in legal fees. So there's that. The puppet masters behind the lawfare cases against innocent Americans must seek courts with punitive judges who disregard the constitutionally protected rights of conservative defendants. Judges must be willing to allow their courtrooms to be turned into a Roman Colosseum where conservative targets are publicly flogged and humiliated. The end result usually includes draining their targets' life savings, draining their businesses, and inflicting maximum damage to their reputations. So if you were sued for just under $3 million, I'm wondering, do you think that would cause you a little bit of stress? If you want to know how radical the Protect Democracy Project is, watch this video they made that depicts President Trump as an evil dictator and gaslights anyone who watches it into believing that Republicans pit people against each other when that's exactly what the lawfare they're engaged in accomplishes. I don't know, Joe, how long is that video? Should we play that video? How long is that sucker?
So, what are these?
Yeah, play it from where it's at. Let's see what happens.
Democrats do when they come to power to dismantle democracies. Across the world, from Venezuela to Turkey, Hungary to Poland, they have the same playbook everywhere. First, they politicize independent institutions like the civil service, law enforcement, and the military. Second, they spread disinformation. Third, they aggrandize executive power and they undermine checks and balances. Fourth, they quash dissent. Fifth, they try to delegitimize vulnerable and marginalized communities. This has been the tyrant's favorite tool since antiquity.
Because if you can pit people against each other on the basis of race or religion or national origin or sexual orientation, it's easier to pick their pockets of money and power. Sixth, They stoke violence, not just to intimidate opponents, but also because fear, especially for our physical safety and the safety of the ones we love, makes us all more susceptible to the false promises of strongman rule. And lastly, they corrupt elections. So what might happen next? Well, we're already seeing it. The people who tried to corrupt and overturn the 2020 election are now engaged in an effort to make sure that the next time succeeds where last time their effort failed. In 2020, we saw attempts to suppress the vote. We saw attempts to prematurely claim victory and falsely allege fraud. We saw attempts to barrage courts with frivolous litigation to amplify those false claims of fraud and delay certifying any winner. We saw efforts to pressure state legislatures to step in and assert their will in place of the will of the people of their states. And ultimately, we saw efforts to get Congress to declare the loser as the winner. Thankfully, in 2020, all those efforts were thwarted by citizens, by civil society, by our democratic institutions, by Democrats and Republicans standing together in defense of our republic.
You can stop it now, Joel. I think people get the idea. You get
Changes.
the idea. So the article goes on to say, we'll finish it up. Is it possible that individuals featured in the movie by D'Souza, my bad, taken from footage they received by True the Vote were accidentally used because of miscommunication between the two? Oh, you factor in all the lawsuits they were dealing with and the work it takes to produce a movie? Maybe. Americans must demand that the Trump administration is able to put an end to the lawfare that's been used and will continue to be used to destroy the lives of so many innocent men and women who've become targets of the Democrat Party and their affiliates. For the sake of our nation and to restore the necessary trust in our justice system, something must be done to stop the lawfare being used against political enemies in America. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, the Gateway Pundit, and I respect those guys, Jim and Joe Hoft. I think they do a good job, but I also think they sometimes borderline on conservative propaganda because their opinions are heavily weighted in this as well, which they have every right to print. So I get it. This isn't completely unbiased either, which is what you need to know, but it at least gives the other side. And it gives the full picture versus the snapshot that the Dries Bach or Dries Butt or whatever his name was on Twitter used to try to cause division, confusion, and destroy the whole True the Vote 2000 Mules thing. So thank you, Pam. She's bringing something for the Chinese auction on the 13th. I'm going to look at the comments. You guys have any questions? We're winding down. I did it. My goal is 60 minutes or less, and I got 2 minutes and 13 and counting seconds left. Pam, thank you very much. Bringing something for the Chinese auction. That'll be really helpful. Barb, you read the Bonhoeffer biography 4 years ago. You are in the minority. Most patriots, like you and I, that have been in this battle for 4 years, don't know who Dietrich Bonhoeffer is. That film is riveting. He does, I'm not spoiling it because you can Google this and find it out. Hopefully I don't spoil it. I prepare you. It's very heavy. He gets executed 2 weeks before World War II ends. He was 39 years old. He gets hung at the end of the movie. And that man loved Jesus like, oh man, it's riveting. His courage that he was willing to stand up. The Nazi church. Oh, wait till you see this. I'm sorry. I just have to. The Nazis came after the church, had their own Bible. You probably don't know this about World War II, do you? Oh, we know Valkyrie because Tom Cruise was in Valkyrie. And we know they tried to assassinate that too. They tried to assassinate Hitler a couple times because Valkyrie and Tom Cruise. Yeah, but nobody mentioned Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And nobody told us in that movie, I don't think, anyway, it's been a long time since I've seen Valkyrie, that the Nazis published their own Bible. They added 2 commandments to the 10 commandments, 2 extra ones. And one of them was to declare that Hitler was in fact God. And the pastors were rolling over left and right to go, well, what are we going to do? The movie depicts the Nazis in church, in the service, in their military uniform, while Dietrich Bonhoeffer stands up and tells them to go pound sand. Jesus is Lord. Hitler is not. If you don't like it, take a flying leap. And it took a lot of courage to do that. You've got to see that movie if you don't know anything about Bonhoeffer. I don't think it's going to be in the theaters a whole lot longer, but it will eventually be available to stream. And we're talking at Patriot Academy about how can we do watch parties, and what are all the options so that we make it available to the general public, because we can't just let the fact that this movie's only in theaters maybe a few weeks. And in fact, the theater I saw it at didn't even have a poster of it. I don't know if that's a funding thing with Angel Studios or if that's a censorship thing with the movie theater, that they didn't want a whole ton of advertising. The only places I really saw it advertised the movie Bonhoeffer was on social media. And it was very disappointing to see that the theater had very little information, not a movie poster, not a single one that I could find. So go see it. It's worth it. Checking the last comments. I agree, Lola Days. One guy, not a mule. So what? What about the other hundreds that made multiple trips stuffing stacks of ballots that you saw with your own eyes? Yes. Enough said. And I agree that I think Dinesh D'Souza is a good person, a good patriot with the right heart, trying to do the right thing. Of course, we are all sin, fallen short of the glory of God, and make mistakes every single day. All of us. We are born of that nature, and greed can take over, and ego and selfishness at any point in time. And when you're under stress, that stuff can get even worse. I know in my gut that Catherine Engelbrecht is a good person because of the personal interaction that I've had with her. She personally helped me on election day in Pennsylvania triage one of the issues we found with electioneering. Personally, texting back and forth, saying, Toni, make sure you do this, 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 and this, so that I was reporting everything properly. So if we had to challenge the outcome, we had everything documented the way it was supposed to be. She did not have to do that. They're both good people. Confusion gets in the mix, and it's casualties of war. Here we are. Share the Gateway Pundit article, the Undercover DC article. All these links are going to be somewhere on one of our platforms. And that documentary, which I do plan to watch, I haven't seen it yet, admittedly, on Georgia, her staff. I communicate with her staff on a regular basis, and her staff are the ones that sent me those resources and said, here's what you need to put out to the public if you get questions, because I am getting inundated with questions. Bonhoeffer. Thank you, Sandy. I think that's it. Joel, was that it? I think that was everything. If I'm forgetting anything, we got to start like maybe ending with a video. I'll make this as much fun as possible so you actually enjoy watching this. Yes, Barb, thank you for that. Beaver County is good. But you know what Beaver County is good? Well, we do have a good election director who's an honest guy, but we are on the ground constantly, holding them accountable. They know we're there and that our eyes are on them and we're not going anywhere. And I think that's one of the reasons why they run such a tight ship. And that's going to be one of the main focuses of Audit the Vote as we move into 2025, is building more of that ground game, holding elected officials accountable at the local level, at the county level, because elections in Pennsylvania, that's how they're run, at the counties. That's the game changer. That's how we save the republic. Our state, look, President Trump won. Great. Our state's still run by a communist who, if we don't do something, looks like he's going to win re-election because the media is propping him up and to make him look like a golden boy. And unfortunately, he is pretty good at it, what he does, which is politicking, and he is well liked. And so we've got our work cut out for us in Pennsylvania. I have enjoyed, I'm 2 minutes. I'm almost 3 minutes over. Son of a gun. Joel, you got anything funny we can end with? Maybe we'll start doing end with one of those funny things. And if not, that's okay. What did we do the last couple of times? There was a guy running for office pretending to be a slimy politician. I don't remember. You did 2 really funny ones the last couple of weeks. I got to pull some Jim Brewer, my man, Jim Brewer. When's he coming back to Pittsburgh? Anybody wants to take me to see Jim Brewer? I'm in. Love that guy. Yes, Barb, right? I mean, we're hardcore, and that's our form of government.
Portraying the ridiculousness of what I'm watching. I'm watching the mayor of New York eating McDonald's French fries. Right. Probably the most unhealthy, disturbing food, if it is food, going, you mean I get free French fries if I stick this needle in me? Who's not watching this going, oh, you know what? Maybe something's weird going on. How do you not? I know. It still staggers my thought process that anyone will still defend those times. I know. And they'll still go. They use all the, part of that I did I call it the cockatoos. The cockatoo. Yeah, And what the cockatoos do is they again, it's hypnotized and it's brainwashing. You'll sit there and then you think you know this information when all you're doing is you just watch Bugs Bunny and now you're repeating the Bugs Bunny. That's all you're doing. Threat to our democracy. Threat to our democracy. Weird. They're weird. Like, oh my God, you don't even have a thought process of your own anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm Trump or whoever. How do you watch Biden half the time and go, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong.
Then the day they were all shocked.
It took a debate.
No,
it took a debate for him sounding like Ozzy. It took that for anyone blindly following, going, oh yeah, maybe something's wrong. Are you kidding me? We are in a war.
Yeah.
Period. Well, no matter how you want to explain the war, it's an information war, it's a spiritual war. It's a war.
Yeah.
And they made it clear they have no issue taking your child out. They have no issue taking out your mother, your grandmother. They have no issue separating your home, your best friend, any of that. Before Trump was president, not many people questioned Hollywood or news. You trusted everything they said. Everyone trusted all pharmacies, all doctors, everything. That pendulum in just 7 years those roots were so deep planted for so long. Education. All of it is now flopping, not just in America, across the whole world. No one's taking it seriously anymore, and they're losing. It's like they're trying to stomp out 8 billion fires.
Yeah,
oh my God! It's like stop this podcaster. Bing, another one pops up. Stop this program. Bing, another one. We're losing all control, sire. Send out monkeypox. Do something. Send out Kamala Harris. Do something. I have lots of hope.
Good.
And I truly believe incredible things are on the way.
Did you say free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get these delicious fries? Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this? Let me check with Bill Neathart. Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This can be breakfast? Okay. I want you to look at this and think about, again, some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life. But if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination. Vaccination. I'm getting a very good feeling about vaccination right this moment.
Oh my God, I've never seen that part. I just saw that clip. Thank you, Joel. That is my man. That is my man, Jim Brewer, right there. Love it. Aussie. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm out. You guys don't need to hear me anymore. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified when we go live. Follow us on social media. Donate if you can. auditthevotepa.com. And we'd love to see you in Pittsburgh on December 13th if you can clear your calendar at 5:30. You guys have an awesome weekend. I will see you next week. Good night.